I finally finished the Eternaut. Let's talk about it. Took me a bit to get through this. I don't know why. There were just so many other things that I had to take care of. But anyway, I recently finished watching the Netflix series The Eternaut that is based on a comic from several decades ago. I had never heard of this before. I mean, not surprising. It's from another country, so it's not like I'm in the know about all these different sorts of IPs and stuff. But anyway, it was a pretty interesting concept. It is Argentinian, so there's going to be subtitles that you'll have to read. I didn't find it that intrusive or annoying or anything like that. I wanted to talk about it with you guys because I enjoyed it quite a bit, actually. It's not something that is super fast-paced. Do not go in expecting that to happen. I think there were about 6 or 8 episodes. I'll clarify on the screen, but it might be actually 8. Each episode was about an hour-ish long. The last episode maybe was the longest. I'll start off by saying, yes, it ends on a cliffhanger, but it has been renewed for a second season. It was renewed the day after it came out on the platform, which I think was late April. Some interesting trivia about the title is that it's a combination of 2 words, eternity and astronaut, which basically means that the main character is like a timeless or dimensional traveler. Of course, that kind of lets you know that this is a bit of a sci-fi show. I did not realize that until I started paying attention to the synopsis. So the basic start of the show, it's these people just living their life one evening in, I don't remember if it was Buenos Aires or what, but they're in Argentina and all of a sudden something happens with the power and then people start dropping dead if they're outside. It kind of reminded me of an inverse Dungeon Crawler Carl, where if you were inside, you died. If you were outside, you were safe. Anyway, whatever. That was just one of the first things that came to me when this happened. And you have no idea why. It takes a bit before you start to figure out what is happening. And the situation is a bit horrifying because the first, let's say, 3 episodes, solid 3 episodes, it's basically just a post-apocalyptic type survival story where these people, these main characters, and it does follow different characters throughout. There is one character who is more like the main character, even though it's a huge cast. The main character, his name is Juan Salvo, and he's played by an Argentinian actor I actually recognize. His name is Ricardo Darín. There is something about this guy that is very striking to me. He has an interesting presence. His face is different. Like he's got this very serious, almost craggy looking face. And yet he's these striking, beautiful blue eyes and these very prominent eyebrows. And he looks like someone you don't want to mess with. Anyway, that's kind of a side note and I'm getting distracted by Chibi. Stop! Chibi! So he's kind of like the main character. But as I was saying, the story in the first 3 episodes, it's following these different groups of people as they try to navigate this very scary environment that they're in. But like I said, the first 3 episodes are kind of like this post-apocalyptic survival story. I forgot to mention that the reason people are dropping dead is because there's some type of toxic snowfall that's happening. So, think toxic radiation snowfall, that sort of thing, when there's a nuclear disaster. So these people are trying to navigate their environment, trying to figure out how they can safely go outside and travel from place to place, and also avoid confrontations with other groups of people who have bad intentions. That's one of the horrors of post-apocalyptic stories. Let's say The Walking Dead, things like that, zombies and stuff 28 days later. Yeah, those elements are scary, but the scariest thing is the idea of what happens to society when things break down the way they do during something cataclysmic. And that is a terrifying thought, especially when you realize that we are just a hair's breadth away from something like that happening. Power grid goes down, that's it, it's over. So yeah, this sort of thing definitely makes you think about stuff like that. Around episode 4, the tone of the film starts to shift. It goes from something that's more post-apocalyptic survival, and then it turns into something that becomes a little bit more sci-fi as they realize that there is something else going on around them besides just this toxic snowfall that has been happening. And by the time the story was done, it also reminded me of other stories like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And you'll understand what I mean when you watch it. I don't yet understand how... I guess Daddy's home and the doggies want treats. I don't yet understand how... Oh gosh, okay, Jibby. Just go see him. I don't yet understand how all the pieces fit together, how it is and why it is that this happens, because, as I said, it ends on a cliffhanger, so those things are not explained. I do not know if there is a long-term plan for multiple seasons or if things will wrap up in season 2. It doesn't seem like it's going to be something that could wrap up in just 2 seasons, but I guess we'll see. Some more things I wanted... Oh my gosh, the dogs. Some more things I wanted to mention about... Oh my goodness gracious. Some more things I wanted to mention about it is that the acting in here I thought was really solid. A lot of actors who aren't from the US. It feels like there's so many really good actors in the rest of the world. Okay, whatever, I digress. The acting in here was really good. I thought it felt very natural. It felt very organic. You believed the situation that was being laid out for you in the story. And also, I liked that this was nothing that had any sort of messaging in it at all. Nothing. None of that. So that's a plus as well. I liked also that despite the fact that it sort of is a slow-ish moving story, I didn't personally mind that because I was engaged with the mystery and the atmosphere and very curious to see what was going to happen. How are they going to get out of this situation that they were in? How are they going to figure out what the heck is going on? How are they going to figure out how to survive what's going on? So I was drawn into that. So the slow nature and the buildup of what was happening was absolutely a non-issue to me. If you go into it expecting something that's going to be high octane, nonstop action, you might be a little bored, but that just wasn't a thing for me. I don't really have any cons to speak of when thinking about this show. There's just one thing that kind of stood out to me a little bit as like, what? I don't understand this. There's a scene towards the end where the main character sees something glowing in the distance, and somehow he just intuitively and automatically knows that that is the real enemy. How? How did he know this? It's not really explained. I don't know if that's just some sort of issue with the writing or if this is something that, I mean, I'm sure later we will understand what this entity is, but how did he know automatically that's the real enemy? And I was just like, I don't know about that. How? Unless there's something else going on with him. And you do see throughout the different episodes that there's something going on with him. He has these strange moments where it's like he's in another place or he's seeing something in the past or in the future or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe there's something psychically going on with him and he just intuitively can figure out these things. I have no clue. Maybe readers of the comic will know, but then I don't know how much has been changed. So there's that. But I don't really have any... excuse me. But other than that, I don't really have anything negative to say about the Eternaut, and I enjoyed it enough that I wanted to specifically talk about it with you guys. I'm going to do a full written review for the Latino Slants website, so if you want to check that out, you can. But it'll basically be just a more concise summary of what I'm talking about here. I am definitely looking forward to season 2. A year is a long way away. I hate when they spread out seasons like that. Ugh. Whatever, that's just my impatience. We've gotten so used to being able to just jump from one season to the next that first world problems, right? Okay, that's all I have to say for now about the first season of the Eternaut. If you guys get a chance to check it out, and or if you have read the comic that this is based on, let me know your thoughts. I'm not going to go read the comic, but it was interesting to find out about that. All right, that's it for this one, you guys. Adios.